Welcome back to the Manchester United Career Mode. Starting off Season 2, we were just looking to try and qualify for the Champions League, but we have been performing to the next level under Erik ten Hag. We are currently top of the Premier League heading into the month of January, and it's been a turbulent season. At the beginning, we offloaded Antony for 90 million. He wanted to leave, but we brought in a new talisman in Jonathan David. And what a revelation this man has been for Manchester United. He has been bagging the goals since day one, and he's got the team dancing again. Can we continue this momentum in the second half of the season? That is what we are here to find out in today's episode. What is up, you guys? It's me, Mental Hog, back here for episode 3, the season 2 finale of the Manchester United Career Mode. And this episode can go so many ways as we approach the January transfer window. Are more players going to get sold? Are we going to buy more players? Do we even have the money? Will Erik ten Hag talk to the board? Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. All I know is that I'm so excited to be making another episode of this series. I hope you guys are excited to see it, and if you are, show me that support down below. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already to the Mental Hog channel. We're on the push for 2,000 subscribers, and I just hope you guys enjoy this episode. We're going to start off with a couple of scenes. We have got Erik ten Hag. He needs to talk to the board and find out how the heck we're going to strengthen this team going into the January transfer window. So enjoy. Hey Erik, glad we could sit down to speak on the team's progress this season. The board and I are pleased with your progress so far, and are glad to see the team top of the table. We're definitely on track to be playing in the Champions League next season. Do you have any plans to strengthen the squad in the coming winter transfer window? Ten Hag has been thinking about this over the first half of the season, and has been waiting for this exact moment to make his plans known. You and I both know that the season is long, and anything could happen between now and the end of May. With 25 million euros to spend and player contracts expiring, there's no way we can challenge for the title without a bigger budget in this window. If you can convince the board to back me in the market in January, I can promise you that with that money, I can turn this team into a title-winning side. For me to talk to the board, I have to know what your plan is. Who do you want to sign? I would like to sign Mason Mount to strengthen our midfield. Eriksen can't play every game, and even though Donny van de Beek has been performing, we lack intensity in our midfield. He's moved to Atletico Madrid, so it'll be difficult to convince him to come here in January, but with the right budget, we can make it happen. And what about Rashford's contract? It's due to expire at the end of the season. I have a meeting scheduled with him after our first FA Cup game to discuss his renewal. Okay, this sounds like a good plan to me. I will talk to the board and see what I can do, but you have to give me some time before I can get back to you. That wasn't exactly the conversation Ten Hag was expecting to have, but he knows that if anyone can convince the Glazers to invest in the team, it's David Harrison. So he's going to put his trust in him and carry on with the season. Those contract talks with Rashford that were supposed to happen after the first FA Cup game, well, those are going to have to wait because we needed to go to a replay against Stockport in round 3. But Jonathan David scores 2 amazing goals on the breakaway in this one to give us exactly the result that we needed. It was 1-1 in the first leg, not sure exactly how that came about, but we got the result in the second leg. We're moving on. After the next day's training and recovery session, Ten Hag goes to his meeting with Marcus Rashford, who's still expected to be out for a few more weeks with his injury. Thanks for seeing me, Marcus. I wanted to speak about your contract and see if you plan to stay at the club past this season. I've been thinking a lot about it lately, boss. The past few seasons have been a struggle for me with fitness and form issues, but I know how good it feels to be a United player when I'm firing on all cylinders. What do you see for my future at this club? I want you to be the poster boy of my legacy at Man United. You could become this club's next legend, and I could even see you being our captain in the future. Thanks, Gaffer. It feels good to know that I am valued by you, even through my injuries and slumps in form. I'll gladly put pen to paper and extend my contract. And with that, we've signed Marcus Rashford up for another 3 seasons. While we wait for more news about Mason Mount and our budget, we're going to move on to the FA Cup where we're facing off against Newcastle in an early round here. Currently up there fighting for the title with us, but we are going to try and show them up, and Garnacho stepping in for the injured Rashford. Boom, sets up a great assist for Jonathan David. That gets us flying off in this game, and we've got 2 amazing goals coming up here. Bruno Fernandes with an amazing peach of a pass for Jonathan David, and if you thought he'd only do that once, you're wrong. He actually does it twice in the exact same match. Jonathan David is just running onto all these balls, fighting past the back line, scores another goal, gets his hat trick. And, of course, we're going to end off the game with a beautiful piece of play here. Bruno Fernandes, you think he loses the ball, but our captain fights for it. Our midfield fights for it. Casemiro to Garnacho. Garnacho to the bench player, Barry Dunn, who scores a match winner for us. I mean, obviously, it was already done and dusted here, but 4-0 is going to be the final scoreline in the FA Cup against Newcastle. That's a big showing from us, considering we didn't really do all that well in the domestic cup competitions last season. So we're going to take that 4-0 win and hope to make more happen. As Ten Hag is leaving training on the 24th of January, he finally gets that call from David Harrison. I hope you're calling with good news. I actually am. The board has approved an extra $60 million to get that Mason Mount deal across the line. But there's a catch. As always, what's the catch? If we sign him and don't win the Premier League, we will be way over our allowed spending under financial fair play regulations, which means we would have to generate 85 million euros in player sale next summer or risk a points deduction from the FA. Oh wow, that is quite the catch. No need to fear though. I think we'll win the Prem with Mason here. It'll be rough with only 1 week remaining in the window, but I'll work my magic to get him here. By the way, there's one more thing I need to share with you. The Glazers are set to finalize the club sale to Sheikh Jassim for 6.5 billion euros. The announcement will be made after the final game of this season, so the takeover will begin next summer. Wow, that is a lot to process. Regardless of how the season ends, next summer, United will once again be the wealthiest club in world football. But this time through a Qatari takeover. We need to make sure we win the league now, or else we won't get to touch any of that shiny oil money next season. Ten Hag needs to work quick to get Mason Mount to United if he wants this done by the end of the window. So he needs to call him right away to see if he's even interested. When Mount picks up the phone, Ten Hag nearly pees his pants. Hola, ¿quién es este? I think I have a wrong number. I'm looking for Mason Mount? This is Erik Ten Hag? Finally, someone who speaks English. I thought I'd never speak it again. How can I help you, Erik? I'll get straight to the point. How would you like to come back to England and play for me at Man United? I don't know. Madrid is a beautiful place, and we're playing in the Champions League. Why should I make the switch halfway through the season? Well, I'll be honest. Your Spanish is terrible. And I want you to help us win the Premier League this year and go for a potential treble next year. So I think I have bigger ambitions than Atletico, who just like to finish third in La Liga and go out in the round of 16 of the Champions League. You know what? You're right. I can't eat another bite of paella anyway. Let's make it happen. After what was probably the strangest recruitment conversation of all time, Erik has his man. But is there enough time left in the window to make it happen? Only time will tell. Thankfully, we were able to get Diego Simeone over to Manchester fast enough to talk about this deal, and all we have left to do now is agree on a fee. The personal terms with Mason Mount are there, so 75 million, it's a big chunk of our budget that's left. Obviously, this is the only transfer we'll make in January, but it's a big one that I think will fuel us on to potentially win a Premier League title. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see if Mason Mount is going to live up to the hype. In real life, he obviously signed across the dotted line and is wearing the number 7 shirt. He's not going to necessarily wear number 7 for us, but it is a big addition to our squad and to our midfield. Mason Mount is now a Manchester United player. With all that business out of the way, it's time to turn our attention back to games. We're in February now, facing off against Arsenal. Rashford is back from his injury. Mason Mount is making his start. And they want to show themselves very quickly here. We want a big game here. We want to beat Arsenal. And Marcus Rashford, early on, gets himself a couple of really good chances, but obviously he has been out injured for the past 3 months. So it's going to take him a little bit of time to get back into the game. And it took a long time for us to break down this Arsenal team. Chance after chance, save after save from Aaron Ramsdale. Finally, near the halftime whistle here, Bruno Fernandes shrugs off some challenges and tackles and plays it for Jonathan David. It's a beautiful goal. We hung on for most of the second half, but a defensive error from Mason Mount gives them a chance. And Gabi Jesus gets a goal back, and that is just a terrible, terrible draw for us to be doing. The fans are furious. It's not looking good for us in the table. If we're going to be dropping points like this, we will not win the Premier League, and we're going to have huge issues in Season 3. Taking a look at the table now, that was not a very good draw for us. We are now tied on points with Manchester City. They are ahead of us on goal difference, and we are going to need something to turn the tides here. Thankfully, we actually have a game against them in the FA Cup coming up right now. So, big game, huge game, actually. Both Manchester teams fighting for the title here in the Premier League. Facing off in the FA Cup now. Again, still a pretty early round. I believe this is the round of 32 or the round of 16. So, it's not going to be easy for us, and we need to shift the tides in Manchester here. Will we do it today at the Etihad with the Erling Haaland tifo out? It's going to be very difficult to do. We know how good this team are. They are my favorite team in real life, of course. So, yeah, we're trying to break them down. Erling Haaland is getting really aggressive early on here, getting himself booked, and it's going to be a matter of time now until we can potentially take advantage of that. Looking at this now, actually, we get a beautiful through ball. Their defense can't do anything about it. Jonathan David scores a beautiful goal to give us the lead in this game, but we're going to continue to build and build and build, but of course so are Man City. Kevin De Bruyne playing a beautiful cross here, or it could have been a shot or a cross, you never know, but yeah. And then we had a couple of mistakes passing out of the back early on here. The nerves were obviously on display, even from our veteran players like Casemiro and Varane. Thankfully we had Martinez there to make up for it, the youthful exuberance. Jonathan David played through again by Rashford, curling it past Ederson. We have a 2-goal lead at the Etihad, only 30 minutes in. It's only a question of can we hang on or can we potentially create more chances. Dalot to Jonathan David from range now, has the confidence backing him up. Jordi Alba, a signing from Barcelona. Obviously Pep managed him before. They are talking tactics. And going into the halftime whistle here, Manchester City are creating quite a few opportunities for us, and it's pretty scary. Yeah. Second half here, Rashford has a clean chance through on goal. Good way to get himself back in, and of course, he has to hit the post. So, hasn't gotten his goal back from injury yet, but that's not going to stop him from continuing to push forward and try and take shots and try and create chances. Our team is just trying to push forward, create more momentum, and keep the ball away from City as well. By the way, Phil Foden is kind of losing his head. There's frustration on display here, and there's not that much time left in the game. But, of course, again, yeah, the nerves got to us a little bit here near the end of the game. And the scramble in the box sees a just random consolation goal. City are gutted because they know that this means that the momentum has potentially shifted in Manchester. Could we be the favorites now going into March to win the title yet again? We have to carry on here. It takes an entire squad to win the Premier League, but of course Jonathan David is performing big time for us. We're going to move on into this game against Newcastle. We played them in the FA Cup, beat them in the FA Cup. They are still up there challenging for the title. They've got quite a good team here with a recreated midfield, and it is a great team, like I said, so we got to carry on. We got to create chances, and that is exactly what we are doing here. Garnacho, like I said, it takes a squad, and we are using that full squad to help us win this title here, or push for the title at least. A rough tackle on Jadon Sancho is going to see a yellow card for that guy Reynildo, who signed from Atletico Madrid. A lot of business coming from Diego Simeone into the Premier League this season, apparently. And we're just going to carry on trying to play our game, create our chances, get our win. Jonathan David shrugs past defenders, but Nick Pope is not easy to beat. Martinez almost scores off a corner. The 5'10" slight defender. Everybody made fun of his height, but it doesn't matter. Bruno Fernandes taking a shot, also saved, of course. Nick Pope is really hard to beat. This opportunity, outside of the boot from Jonathan David, it was always going to take something special to beat Nick Pope, and we have that something special in Jonathan David. Barry Dunn has come off the bench as well, and it's going to be another Trivela shot from Jonathan David, and he's going to samba on him. He rightfully so. This man has scored 7 goals in the last 4 games now, and he is on fire since coming across from Lille. And that's not where it's going to end. A long shot, Barry Dunn creating the assist. 3-0 scoreline right now. A defensive mistake from Newcastle. They're keeping the intensity. Jonathan David is shrugging past every player. This could have been potentially a solo run goal of the season, but he hit the post. No hat trick for Jonathan David in this game, but he's already scored how many for us? And it's Amad Diallo winning the ball back. I was wrong that whole time. It wasn't even Jonathan David. Amad Diallo had the solo run of a century. The chance isn't over yet. We're still continuing to build up well. But yeah, the game ends 3-0, just to showcase a little bit of good build-up, a lot of good use out of our squad. Unfortunately, out of this game, we did get another injury. Raphael Varane going to be out for 3 months with a broken toe. And like I keep saying, it takes an entire squad to win a Premier League. So that means that Victor Lindelof is going to get a lot of game time from now till the end of the season. And his first game is going to be at Anfield against Liverpool. Is he going to be able to shore up our back line? Is he able to keep us moving in the FA Cup? This is the quarterfinal stage now. We are not having an easy run to this competition's finals at all. We've already played City. We've already played Newcastle. This is Jonathan David's competition, by the way. 6 goals in 3 matches. And their team, incredible. Musa Barrow, an interesting signing. Jonathan David with a great attack positioning there, scoring the goal, getting us ahead early. Chris Eriksen playing this one, not doing too badly. He's actually not been bad at all, to be honest with you, despite Mason Mount having to come across. And Musa Barrow, like I said, an interesting signing, getting on the end of some chances for Liverpool. Jonathan David makes a fool out of Virgil van Dijk. He's defending with pure vibes, but the finish was also just pure vibes. It wasn't there, but that's okay, because Jonathan David will try again and gets his chance to give us a 2-goal lead here at Anfield in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Are we on track to win a competition here, win our first piece of silverware? I certainly think so. And yeah, if you thought that this game was over, you are wrong. Jude Bellingham trying to create chances. However, the game does finish 2-0 to us. We do take the win. We move on to the semifinals of the FA Cup here by 2 goals with Jonathan David. Liverpool just didn't have the finishing touch in this game. And once again, we have to move on to what is going to be the biggest game of our season so far. It is Manchester City at the Stretford End at Old Trafford. Coming to visit the noisy neighbors. Can we disrupt them? They are sitting on top of the Premier League still right now on goal difference. They've been matching our results as they always do. They play excellently towards the second half of the season here, and Casemiro is ready for big games like this. The pressure from him, he's just making a solo run. He knows what to do. He's got the experience. He's got the know-how. He just doesn't have the finish. So, yeah, it's interesting for sure. And an interesting challenge here on Bruno Fernandes. Sees him hurt. That's going to be the story of this game. Without Bruno Fernandes, this team does not tick the way you think it does. We were lacking creativity for the entire rest of this game. City, of course, have their strongest squad out there, and Kevin De Bruyne wreaking havoc on the team. There he is, Bruno. Just not the same after that injury. He's not able to do... Oh my god, that was almost scored there. But Mason Mount still hasn't found his first goal for the club, and that's okay. It takes time to adjust to a team. We had to sub off Bruno Fernandes, unfortunately, and yeah, chances were still being created, but it just wasn't flowing nearly as well in our midfield. Mason Mount and Chris Eriksen just don't have that link up yet. They're not ready to play together in this team yet, and Mason Mount, he was getting lots of good chances, taking lots of long shots. We know he's got a finish on him from range, but again, just still doesn't have it in him. Barry Dunn had the best chance of the game at the end here to seal it. We could have won the Premier League right here, but he just took one touch too many, and Ederson was just a bit too smart. That's going to be the game over. It's a 0-0 draw, so something that you would think would have decided the Premier League just results in a really boring draw. And from here, it looks like City could go on to win the title. And thankfully, the Bruno Fernandes injury, not a major one, just 5 days out, so we will have him for the rest of the season, which is great. And if you thought we were going to have it easy after this, there's no such thing as easy in the Premier League. We're now hosting Liverpool in the Premier League, and after a draw to Man City like that, we cannot afford to drop a single other point, and we waste no time losing a goal lead to Liverpool early on. Musa Barrow just kind of destroys us there. Jonathan David trying to get us back into this game, chance after chance. Thankfully, Bruno Fernandes is back in the team, able to help us create. Musa Barrow, like I said, an interesting signing for them, but yeah, he is scoring. He is not a bad player. Mo Salah is making a fool out of Luke Shaw. Once again, struggling to score goals against these better sides. Jonathan David, it took the outside of the boot again to try and beat Alisson. It didn't happen, and we're in the second half, still a goal down, just looking for that goal to get us back in here. Otherwise, we're looking like we're going to potentially drop the Premier League, and who else but Marcus Rashford to score from outside of the box with a finesse shot to get us back into a game like this. This is a big game player right here, ladies and gentlemen, and this mounted the start of an incredible comeback. Jonathan David through on goal, scores. It's 2-1. We have the lead again. Jonathan David turns Virgil van Dijk and Konate, and Bruno Fernandes gets the ball, scores. It's 3-1. From here, surely we have the win against Liverpool. Surely 3 points. But, of course, it's never that simple in the Premier League. A quick slowdown from Jude Bellingham just makes a fool out of my defender, and they get themselves a goal back. And then it's a mistake from the back once again, this time from our captain Bruno Fernandes. Tackles missing left, right, and center. Cody Gakpo scores a late, dramatic equalizer. Where have we seen this before? Against Arsenal, against Liverpool now, against City, dropping points against the biggest sides. That is not what title winners do. Barry Dunn once again has a chance to make magic happen at the end, and he misses. But he's getting experience in these big games, and that's what matters. A free kick to end off the game. Bruno Fernandes misses a match-winning free kick. It's dropped points. It feels like the end of the road for us in the Premier League. Confidence in the team is at an all-time low, despite us being in the semifinals of the FA Cup, despite us doing so well for so long. It looks like it's going to slip away. But I'm joking, because actually Man City dropped points courtesy of an Aston Villa loss at home. I don't understand how they lost at home to Aston Villa, but with 8 games left, we have the lead. Because the Premier League is a funny competition, we of course had to play Aston Villa right after they knocked City off the top of the Premier League. There is their team. It's a very good team, and we mean business in this game. Jadon Sancho wastes no time giving us an early lead. We are pressing aggressively. Bruno Fernandes doubles our lead. Villa are here to play, but they are not here to stay. We want this Premier League title. We have to beat this team. A really weird error here from David De Gea. I don't know what that was all about. It's a weird concession of a goal. Mason Mount scoring his first goal, by the way, in this game for United. Arthur Goodman came off the bench. He's back from his injury, our young prospect striker, and he had 2 really good chances in this game, missed both of them. I don't understand how, but it's okay because the win was already secured. We're giving our young players experience, we're giving our full squad the ability to play games, and we're maintaining our lead at the top of the Premier League. Speaking of giving our youngsters playtime, we're playing West Brom quickly a turnaround before the Brighton game in the FA Cup semifinals. So it's a really rotated team. All the youngsters are getting playtime, and all the youngsters have a chance to deliver. Speaking of delivering, Mason Mount with an early goal. He hasn't scored too many of them, but when he does, they're pretty big ones. Arthur Goodman once again getting plenty of chances to finish. Mason Mount showing him how it's done a little bit, and Arthur Goodman continues to just take shots. Very done taking shots. Everybody in the team getting opportunities to score, and Arthur Goodman really does need a goal. In stoppage time, it's just like the Villa game, but he bags this time. 3-0 win against West Bromwich Albion at the Hawthorns. Mason Mount scoring 2 beautiful goals to give us what we really needed. 3 points with a rotated team, and now we can put our focus into this Brighton game to end off the month of April. We are going to Wembley, just like in real life. Brighton versus Manchester United in the FA Cup semifinals. Is it going to be the same boring 0-0 draw? Well, it's kind of hard to tell because it's kind of hard to see. The lights were not working. England didn't pay the bill. I don't know what's going on here, but eventually that worked out in our favor. Bruno Fernandes, boom, turning the defender, scoring again. Rashford, scoring. Anybody who wants to, scoring. Rashford with a beautiful assist there, a little cheeky pass. Rashford scores again. And yeah, this game was just a story of, I don't even know what Brighton were doing. It finishes 6-0. Amad Diallo getting himself one as well. And we are in the finals of the FA Cup now. Top of the Premier League. We're looking good, honestly, going into May. So here we are. We're in May, the last month of the Premier League. 4 games left to play. We've got 1 in hand over Chelsea, who have actually showed up as new potential title winners. City have dropped off quite massively. Newcastle is not too far behind them. We have a really good position here to win the league, and we need to take advantage of things like this. This is our huge chance to get away with an easy league win. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of financial troubles going into next season, regardless of that takeover that we're expecting. And who else but Tottenham Hotspur, the bottle job team of the century, for us to face off against to start our final push for the Premier League title. Harry Kane still at the club. We wanted him originally, but we just didn't have the money in the budget. Jonathan David, obviously an incredible other opportunity to sign a player here, though. And yeah, a catastrophic own goal was actually the only thing that even happened in this game. It's hilarious, so we're going to watch it back. It's Christian Romero, heads the ball down, tries to do a bicycle kick clearance, but just totally misses the ball, and Simon Mignolet is their keeper. I don't know where he was. This is the only other real opportunity that either team had, and Rashford missed. It's a 1-0 win. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and that own goal was exactly the kind of luck that we needed to get us potentially this Premier League title. So after that game, looking really good. Chelsea have dropped points yet again. I don't remember who their game was against, but we are 2 points clear at the top with 2 games to play. Usually, that is a good sign of things to come. But all of that has to go to the back burner for 1 second because it is time for an FA Cup final against Everton, of all teams. So we have definitely had a relatively simple final opponent here, despite having all the hardest teams early on. Dele Alli, an interesting player because of that interview that he gave recently, obviously. But our second team gets a chance to shine here, and Arthur Goodman gets an early chance against Pickford. Hard goalkeeper to break down. And obviously, we're going to have to create some kind of magic here. Isaac Hansen, a Youth Academy prospect, is trying to make something happen here. Amad Diallo, everybody, is just trying to make something happen here. It's about breaking down that team for the first time, and then you'll be able to score more goals. Amad Diallo here, nice agility on the ball. Arthur Goodman just could not get the chance, though. Luke Shaw to Amad Diallo. Who is going to be the hero of the FA Cup? Is it going to be Isaac Hansen? It's not. Is it going to be Amad Diallo? Scott McTominay? Not McTominay either, actually. Who is it going to be? Jonathan David comes off the bench. Donny van de Beek. Could he be the one against a former club that he played for on loan? I don't know. It looks like it might be going to extra time here as Mason Mount receives the ball off of one of Everton's corners here. It's going to be Barry Dunn with a chance for redemption, but you know what? He decides to do the smart thing and give it to Jonathan David outside of the boot. If you ever want to beat a goalkeeper that's tough to beat, that's what you do. Outside of the boot, Jonathan David and Barry Dunn have cemented themselves in Manchester United history, scoring a match-winning, FA Cup-winning goal. And yeah, the fans are rejoicing at Wembley. They all made the travel out here, and they get an amazing piece of silverware. The oldest cup competition, I think, still going in football, period. And it's going to be Captain Luke Shaw. He's playing as a captain of the second team today. He's going to be lifting our potentially first of 2 pieces of silverware. We've got 2 games left in the Premier League after this, and we need to get results like we just did against Everton to secure yet another title. But a great opportunity here for a lot of United youngsters and players to win silverware. And now we move to what would be, of course, the only fairy tale way to end off a Premier League title campaign. We're going to be facing off against none other than Chelsea, the team who have been sitting just behind us. They are 2 points behind us. We need a draw today to stay on top and go into the last day with obviously the best chances. But if we win, the title is ours. And did Chelsea come to play? Well, I'll let the reels here do the talking. It's an early lead for us. Jonathan David through once again against this 5 at the back system. I don't know where these defenders are, but Mendy is keeping them in it so far. Jadon Sancho into the second half. Really wants his title. Jonathan David likes the crossbar, though. And it is actually a follow-up challenge leading to a penalty, though. So we have a chance here with Captain Bruno Fernandes to go 2-0 up on what is the Premier League decision day if we can win this game. Sends Mendy to no man's land, and it is 2-0. And from there, well, Chelsea just needed goals. They had to commit numbers forward, and we were just able to take full advantage of that. Quickly made it 3-0. Casemiro from range tries to pop one, wants to be part of the title-winning game with the goal score sheet. And Marcus Rashford with a beautiful goal to definitely seal off this Premier League title. It's 4-0 at home to Chelsea. We're looking like the favorites to win, but Sancho had to cap it off with a beautiful first-time finish. And of course, that means we win the Premier League. A 5-0 drumming of Chelsea on game day 37 sees Manchester United lift yet another Premier League title. So going into next season with the takeover, we're not going to have to worry about any sort of financial difficulties or anything like that. Bruno Fernandes, the hard work ends right here, caps it off with a beautiful trophy celebration at Old Trafford. We do still have 1 game to play. Who cares about that game? We care about today. We are champions. We are doing the double in England. We've done the Premier League. We've done the FA Cup. It's time to celebrate. It's time to let the youngsters take that last game. Everybody is so excited. What does all of this mean with the prospect of a takeover next season? I don't quite know yet. We're going to have to wait and see. But for now, we enjoy this moment. And this is your Premier League winning team of Manchester United. So let's take a look at the table, see what it looks like here, and how we are done winning, just fighting for this Premier League. 5 points clear. Regardless of our last result, we are going to be Premier League winners. Like I said, this last game, who cares about it? I don't think Everton have anything to play for. We definitely have nothing to play for. Let's get the kids a run out on the football pitch. Let's let them have fun, and let's see who do we need to keep around at the club next season as a backup. With Champions League football on the horizon, Arthur Goodman is showing that he would like to be a part of the team. Garnacho showing that he has got the fancy feet, showing that he has got everything except for the finish right at the end there. But it was a great run. That is definitely the kind of player you want to have on the bench for you next season. And who knows, with the Qatari money, maybe our players could even improve. Moise Kean gets them a nice goal. I don't know how he ended up staying at Everton. Good defensive work here from our players as well. And Luke Shaw plays yet another pass here. Arthur Goodman has a chance to score a brace, but he can't beat Pickford. So who's it going to be? Is Mason Mount going to create the assist for Goodman? Nope. Goodman gets yet another decent finish, but he just can't seem to sweat the power onto it hard enough. Nice little cross there. We've got lots of options for chance creation with the second team, which is nice. Garnacho gets past everybody. Doesn't have the shot power on the finish yet again. A defensive error sees Goodman hold up the ball really, really well. Wait for that late run from Garnacho. Edge of the box. Boom. Scores the second goal. And that's going to be a match-winning goal right there from Alejandro Garnacho. So our second team can compete with the best of them in the Premier League. They're beating a top-level side here in Everton, despite us having nothing to play for. It's a beautiful 2-1 win to cap off what was an amazing Premier League season. Time to review and prepare for Season 3. Time to take a look around the grounds. Obviously, we are the Premier League winners. 5 points above Chelsea. The rest of the top 4 is Chelsea, City, Newcastle, Wolves in Europe, Spurs in Europe, West Ham back near the top of the table. Arsenal have fallen off significantly in a very, very interesting way. Let's also take a look at the mid-table where you've got shocking teams like Aston Villa, Liverpool, Everton making it to 12, Leicester staying in the Premier League, and relegated Norwich, West Brom, and Watford. Looking around the rest of England, though, we obviously won the FA Cup 1-0 over Everton. What we didn't win was this Carabao Cup. Chelsea actually win that against Preston North End, who made an interesting run to a final there. Bayer Leverkusen taking down West Ham 1-0 to win the Europa Conference League, sees them playing Europa League, which is won by Ajax this season, beating out RB Leipzig, an interesting final there. And in the Champions League, it's Real Madrid facing off against Eintracht Frankfurt, so a lot of success for German teams here. Top goal scorers in the Premier League, Harry Kane is, I think, either tying or 1 goal behind Haaland's new Premier League goal-scoring record, but Jonathan David, debut season in the Premier League, scoring 24 goals is incredible. Bruno with 15. What a season from Manchester United here. Sansei, the top creator in the league, but Fernandes, Sancho, and David all in there as well. And obviously, clean sheets, we actually happen to keep the most as well, 15 for David De Gea. And for our team, 34 goals across all competitions for Jonathan David, almost 20 from Bruno. Rashford, despite missing 3 months, scored more than 10, and Bruno was our top creator. So we had a great season. We have a great team going into Season 3. And with that, we have reached the end of Season 2 of the Manchester United Career Mode. I hope you did enjoy it. I sure did. I loved filming it. I loved playing those games. I loved commentating over it. I just loved the whole experience of that season, a Premier League winning season with Manchester United. Next season, we're being taken over by the Qataris, so there's plenty of money to spend. Probably some new faces in, maybe some new faces leaving the club, or some old faces leaving the club, I should say. But if you're excited for Season 3 of the Manchester United Career Mode, keep your score coming down below. Drop a like in the comment section down below too. Tell me your favorite goal, your favorite game, your favorite player. Tell me something that you enjoyed most about this episode of the Manchester United Career Mode. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on Season 3. My goal is to kind of change gears, change pace a little bit, and get the videos out a lot faster. So subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, though. Have a great day, and peace.